Welcome back to another episode of The Blueprint. I'm your host, Calvin Custance. On The Blueprint, we interview talented athletes and they share knowledge that they have collected over their time playing their sport. From balancing life and relationships to recruiting and training, there is always something you can learn. Today's guest is Paige Zuccaro. Paige plays second base and outfield for her travel team, Finesse Fast Pitch. She is an Aquinas College softball signee and is on the all-county academic team. She is also a very well-rounded person. She's a drum major for the Fraser Marching Band and had a lead in the school play, Blithe Spirit. Welcome to the show, Paige. Awesome. Thanks, Paige, for coming on the show.
Thanks for having me.
So, everybody, this is Paige Zuccaro. She's signed on to, is it Aquinas or Aquinas College to play softball. So, if you want to introduce yourself, just tell us a little about yourself.
Hi guys, I'm Paige Zuccaro. I'm a second baseman and outfielder from Finesse Fast Pitch, and I signed to play with Aquinas Softball. Go Saints!
Awesome. So first off, I'm going to start with a few questions just for the audience to get to know you. So first, what's your favorite food?
Ooh, okay. This sounds really weird, but I like to, this is strange. I like to take hot Cheetos and put them in a piece of like bread and eat it like a sandwich.
Okay, that's the first time I've heard that one.
Really good.
Okay.
You should try it.
Maybe I will. I don't know if I have the stomach to have more than one flaming hot Cheeto at a time, though. Favorite movie?
The Perks of Being a Wallflower.
I've never heard of that. What's that about?
It's like a coming of age movie. I really liked it when I was like 12 or 13, but it kind of stuck around with me. It's just about like finding yourself and like struggling with like anxiety and like the feel of not fitting in. So yeah.
Gotcha. Favorite song?
Right now, probably AM Radio by the Lumineers.
Yeah, it's a good band. And then what are some of your hobbies outside of sports, of course?
Well, I love doing art. I'm not very good at it, but I love art. I love reading, and I like doing a lot of like community service-based things. So like I like giving back to the community wherever I can find it. And then band, choir. Yeah.
Of course, yeah. So if you want to we're going to kick off the sports section of it just to get to know your background in the sports and what sports you specifically play. She went over earlier how you play softball. How long have you played softball?
I started when I was 6, so very young.
It's a while back. Why did you start playing? Did your parents sign you up, or do you have family members that played it, or?
My mom just kind of threw me in it into the T-ball loop, and then I just stuck with it and kept going. So not really anything that motivated me to, but she just kind of said, hey, try it out. And then I ended up liking it.
Awesome. So you mentioned you played second base and outfield. Have you always played those positions, or what positions did you start playing?
So I was a pitcher until I was 12. And then I started having really bad hip and knee problems. And after I had like physical therapy and surgery, I ended up not being able to pitch anymore. So it wasn't until I was about 13 or 14 that I started playing second base. So I'm fairly new to it in terms of like athleticism. I haven't been doing it my whole life. So
yeah, that's awesome though, that made the switch. Do you watch much softball? Like I know like college softball, to me personally, I love watching college softball. It's a very fun sport to watch. But do you watch it?
Yeah. So my coaches, both of my travel coaches are like really good friends of mine. And we grew up with them. Me and my friends have been with them for many years now. So a few years ago, we actually went down to Florida to see one of the big tournaments and like the SEC tournaments, and stayed there for a whole weekend watching them. But every so often we'll get together, watch some games. But yeah, I do enjoy watching it. I'll watch like highlights just as much as I love watching baseball. So
awesome. So is softball the only sport you've ever played, or have you ever played any different sports?
So I used to swim as a kid. I didn't like it. I don't like swimming still. But besides that, yeah, it's just been softball.
Awesome. Are you, are there any professionals in softball that you look up to or model your game after?
Bubba Nichols. She plays in Japan now, but she's a really great shortstop. So love
That's
her.
awesome. So you talked about you play for finesse fastball or
Yes.
fast pitch, right?
Yeah.
Where's that located out of?
So it's a Michigan-based team. There's many like branches, so there's a lot of teams in Michigan. There's also like Ohio ones too, but it's mostly in Michigan. Ours is based out of Macomb County, but it's all over Michigan. You'll find different teams.
Gotcha. Do you play out of state tournaments at all, or do you guys tend to stay local? Or
Yeah, we go out of state.
what's your favorite tournament you've ever been to?
Last year we went to South Carolina for a week, and it was just even like the structure of the tournament and be like you play for one day and then the next day you have off. So like we'd play one full day straight and then go to the beach the next day and just relax. So that was really nice. Beautiful there.
Yeah, it sounds fun. Where in
Mhm.
did you go to Myrtle Beach? Is that where you guys went for it? Or
Yeah,
yeah, there are a lot of baseball tournaments and softball tournaments down there. So
yeah,
it's a beautiful
beautiful.
area. Great place to have a tournament. Um, what's the best way you found to balance sports and school? And then for you, of course, choir, singers is a big time commitment. So how have you found time to balance that, all three of those things?
Well, my thing, I like to keep a solid calendar and I always put my academics first. So I will get everything academically done and then figure out what kind of time I have afterwise, like after all that. And then place during the week where I can like go to the gym, where I can like do lessons, where I can like go to the cages and get my individual reps in. So it's like a very tight schedule. You do have to be willing to like have a very busy schedule that's always going, going, going. But when you make it work, it's not as stressful because everything's at a certain time. And that's how I like cope with everything. It's just like making sure I know when everything is so I don't feel stressed out about it.
Awesome. Kind of bouncing off with that idea. So what specifically do you do for training? Like, I know you said you play travel. Do you have like how many days a week are those practices? Do you do lessons? Like, what do you do to?
So I did lessons for a while. I don't anymore, but I did do lessons once a week and practice is 2 to 3 times a week. Recently it's been two, and then we would do one day of conditioning as well. So one of the practice days would be conditioning, and we would just go to like we went to a therapy clinic and had a trainer work with us and do some like strength and conditioning. And then on my own time, I like to hit the gym as much as I can. It hasn't been very often recently because I've been so busy, but I like to at least once a week. And then with my new college program, I have to go twice a week and like document my data to just the gym. And then I'm supposed to be going twice a week to the cages as well. So pretty busy in terms of training, but you make it work. So
Yeah, for sure. Going off the college program, like what specifically does your college want you to do just to stay in shape and then get prepared for the next level of playing sports?
yeah, so he just recently sent us like a list of workouts we have to do. It's a lot of like core and legs. It's a balance of everything almost, but it really emphasizes on the core and legs. But he uses this app that we all are tracking our data on. So like you have to like record yourself doing the activities twice a week. And so it keeps us all in line just because it's like we're being tracked. It's not like on your own time. But yeah, it's really nice just to have like a solid set workout schedule so that I don't have to do it myself. But yeah, just a lot of training and yeah.
Awesome. Yeah. So do you enjoy, is there a specific, like, this is just a workout question in terms of the training. Is there a specific area of the body you like working on the most?
I like working on my core because it's a challenge and I always feel sore the next day,
Yeah.
which I know you shouldn't base like progress on how sore you feel, but it makes
Hmm.
me feel good about myself that I worked hard. So
Yeah. Core is it's a brutal area to hit.
yeah,
You don't realize how long a minute is until you do a couple planks and then
right, exactly.
and then you realize how much time you spend on YouTube after that, you know?
Uh-huh. Exactly.
So, who would you say are your biggest role models in your life and throughout your career?
Um, for sure, my coaches. They've been with me since I was 12 years old, and with my sister before that, and they're like sisters to me. They both have put in countless hours to make me the player I am today and help me with my recruiting process. And they're just my best friends in this entire world. And I would be nowhere without them. And also my sister, especially, I looked up to her a lot as a kid because she played softball for a long time and she was really good. So I looked up to her and my family as well for supporting me through it all. I'd be nowhere without my mom driving me to tournaments every weekend in a different state.
Mm-hmm.
So just my whole family and like yeah, my coaches.
Yeah, that's great. It's great to have that support from your
Right.
family. It's always very helpful, and you really appreciate it when. Yeah, so kind of going with that, you say your coaches helped you out with recruiting. Is that
Yes.
so? When did your college recruiting journey start? Like when did you consider softball, like playing softball in college was an option for you?
I've always wanted to play softball in college. I knew it's something I wanted to do. After I had my surgery, I kind of like gave up the hope of going to college because it kind of seemed like something that wasn't possible anymore. But it happened during COVID, right when COVID started. So frankly, so thankfully, nobody was playing softball, so I wasn't behind. And then after that is when I kind of started taking recruiting more seriously. It was like at the beginning of my junior year, towards some like between the beginning and middle is when I started like reaching out a little bit more to college coaches. So yeah, I got a little bit of a late start on it, but it still worked out for me. So
You mentioned you had surgery. What'd you get surgery on?
I had hip surgery March of 2020, and they shaved my hip bone and replaced the tissue around my hip bone.
Ouch, that sounds painful.
Yeah.
So how'd the recovery process from that go? Like how long was the timeline for that recovery?
It was definitely a little bit tedious. 6 to 8 months recovery, and two of those I was not supposed to walk. And then after that, it was 4 days a week at physical therapy for 3 hours a day. And then about 7 months later, I got back into it. But honestly, the recovery wasn't the hardest part. It was kind of after recovery, getting over my fear of playing again was just
Mm-hmm.
the biggest barrier that I faced between my recovery.
Yeah. So you mentioned you started reaching out to coaches junior year. Did you go to camps or did you go to showcases? Did you go to anything for that, or did you just reach out to the coaches?
Yeah, so I went to a lot of camps, a lot of recruitment camps, and also I worked with this video company who does videos for college or hopefully college athletes. And basically, what they do is they take a lot of like action shot a day with them, and they just record you and film you, and then they put your video on YouTube, and then you're responsible for like emailing coaches and saying, "Here's my recruitment profile. Take a look at it if you want. Thank you." But like, I would definitely say like it was a lot more of me reaching out that did it than like the camps, but I do know a lot of people who did get recruited from camps as well.
Gotcha. What service did you use for the videos?
I used College Bound Jocks.
Gotcha. So, uh, what was your first offer? Like, I don't really know. Like for football, an offer is usually a roster spot, and some of the higher end colleges will be scholarships. But what was your first offer you received from a team?
So a lot of it is just like they call it like verbally committed and then like you're actually committed. So I went to a few different colleges touring or whatever, and it's just like it kind of the same thing. Like you get to your lower schools and they offer you a spot on the team, and then when you make your way up to like higher schools, they offer you like an athletic scholarship and a spot on the team. So it's about the same as football is.
Gotcha. So what were some of the schools before the college you're committed to now? Like what were some of the schools you were visiting and like talking to coaches and things for that?
Yeah, so I looked at Heidelberg for a minute. Great college, loved it there. It was a really cute little town too. And I looked at I can't really remember what it's called anymore, but it's something Oaks Community College. It was a JUCO in like Kalamazoo area. And it was cute. It just really wasn't the spot for me. And then I kind of found my way to Aquinas and found myself to be pretty happy there once I started visiting campus and talking to the coaches. So
Gotcha. Yeah. So what were some of the factors that led to you ultimately committing and signing to Aquinas?
I wanted a small school from the beginning. So it was really great. Aquinas is very small. I don't like big communities like that. Like I really want to focus on my studies. So if I was going to play softball, I definitely wanted somewhere small
Mm-hmm.
and somewhere that like has a good community. Like the Grand Rapids area is like gorgeous and they're just all very friendly over there. So mostly was just looking for that small school size and a good community, and somewhere that offers my program, of course. So Aquinas did turn out to be a really great spot for me. I'm happy I ended up there.
Awesome. So what are you going into? You mentioned a school that has your program. What are you going into for your career?
So I'm going into my undergrad is going to be in exercise science, and then I'm getting my doctorate in special needs physical therapy. But there's a hospital in Grand Rapids actually that it's a full physical therapy hospital that offers different like floor levels for like different services. And they're one of the only hospitals in Michigan that has a special needs physical therapy floor. So I'm hopefully going to do my internships there if I get a spot. So it just worked out really well because there's not very many around here.
Wow, yeah, it's awesome. What are you most excited about for playing college softball?
I think I'm excited to meet new people and like I find that my teammates become like sisters to me. And I have a lot of sisters because of my past teammates. And I'm hoping to make some like lifelong friends
Mm-hmm.
and just, playing the game. I love the sport. So I'm excited to keep doing it through college. And yeah.
That's awesome. Do you have any goals for playing college? Do you have any milestones that you want to hit by the end of your 4 years?
Mm, honestly, not really. I'm not here to like break records. I just love the game. I'm here to just keep playing it and do what I love and stay with it. If I break records, that's amazing. But I'm really just in it because I love doing it.
That's fair
And
enough. You should love the game that you're playing, you know? Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah, I get that. Is there any specific advice you'd have for high school athletes in general?
Stay consistent. When you start to fall off a little bit, it gets harder to come back, especially during the recruiting process, mostly. A lot of the coaches I talked to, I emailed first. And so I would just say, like, stay consistent with those emails, put yourself out there, get on as many opportunities as you can, camps, like showcase videos, anything you can, work hard and just make sure you love what you're doing and be able to separate, like, don't think of it as a job. It's really easy to lose the sport you love in it being like so stressful. And you just got to remember that you started playing it because you loved it and that you need to continue playing because you love it, or you're really going to like sacrifice your ability.
That's some good advice. Is there any specific advice you'd have for high school softball players, not just athletes, just softball players specifically?
I would definitely say, like, make sure you're doing it because you love it. Again, like I said the last time, it's like softball is like a very when you play for like a higher team, it's really easy to just kind of fall off and get overwhelmed. And that's for all sports, but just stay with it and remember why you love it. Like the same advice I give. I mean, yeah, I don't really have any advice
Gotcha.
specifically for softball players,
Okay.
but
Yeah, that's fine. So we're gonna look back on some of your past achievements and milestones as playing throughout your career so far. I'm sure you're gonna hit more, but what so far in your career, which of your seasons would you say you're the most proud of?
hmm, I would say this season I'm playing right now, actually. I've been hitting really well and fielding really well. So offensively and defensively, I've stepped up way further than I ever thought I will. So definitely this season.
Awesome. Is there a specific moment that you've had that whenever you think about it, you just get really excited and you just relive the moment?
So one game I was playing with my travel team. I was in right field and I was kind of having a bad day, but nevertheless, I was like, okay, I'm at a softball game. I'm gonna like put my worries away. And there was just like this foul ball that got hit like far off, like almost like past the fence line, but not quite. And it was a little bit forward. I was playing deep. So I ended up making like this really cool diving catch. And like it was like the whole crowd, now it wasn't a huge crowd, but everybody was like cheering for me. And my coach was like, that was ESPN worthy. And it was just like, I think about that a lot. Like I base my playing off of, I want to do that again.
That's awesome. Yeah, it's always
Yeah.
fun when you have the crowd cheering for you.
Right.
Who's if you, I'm not sure you'd know the person, but who is the best opponent you've ever faced, or is there a specific person you remember just going up against and being like, this person's amazing?
I like playing my past teammates or my friends just because it kind of puts a little fire in you. Not that
Mhm.
like you want to be better than them, but especially if they're your friend, it's like, it's always a little bit of friendly competition there.
Yeah, there always is.
Yeah. So like my one friend Mackenzie played for a different team for a while. So anytime we would see them, it'd just be like, ooh, like there's a little bit of fire in me. And I'm like, okay, I'm gonna hit this one hard. I'm gonna hit it to her. Like it was always
Yeah.
fun to like play against her. She's back with us now, so I don't have to compete with her anymore.
Oh, that's
But
fun that
yeah.
they're back. So, who would you say is the most talented player you've ever played with as a teammate? If
As
you
far
don't
as
want to pick one, you don't have to.
can I pick more than one?
You can pick more than one. Yeah.
Okay, so there's 3 girls on my team: Mackenzie, Molly, and Jaden. And they are the most talented players I have ever met. Mackenzie is an awesome center fielder who is playing at Cleary now. She is amazing. She's great at what she does. Jaden is also an outfielder and a catcher, and she's great at what she does as well. She's like super feisty, and she sure can hit the ball far. And then my other friend Molly is a first baseman who's very short. She's about 5'3", but is one of the best first basemen you'll ever meet, even though she doesn't have the height to compare. And she hits home runs on home runs. And they're definitely the best I've ever played with in my life and helped me to get where I am today.
Awesome. Yeah, it's fun having talented teammates just to play with, and
Right.
iron sharpens iron, as they always say. So if you go up against good competition, you're going to get better faster.
Right.
So who in your life have made the biggest impact on you? I asked like, who are your role models, but who do you think like has made the biggest impact on your life? Just not just softball and just your life in general.
Um, I would say my physical therapist. He's a family friend of ours, but before and after surgery, I kind of struggled a lot with like staying with softball, and like everything just kind of felt pointless. Like I felt like I was continuing for no reason. Like I wasn't going to be able to play ever again. And I was just kind of like out of it and like, what am I doing? And felt really lost at the time. And then I spent about 3 years with him, and he ended up helping me get back to playing softball, which was kind of surprising at the time. And then he trained with me all the time, like outside of like physical therapy. He'd help me with like softball things, and he ended up helping me figure out what I want to do in life, being a special needs physical therapist. So I would definitely say he influenced me a ton in like my path of growing up and like discovering like who I am and what I want to be. And he saw me through my worst and my best and helped me become my best, which I am today. So definitely him.
That's great. Do you have any advice for people that are going through a very serious injury like you did? Like, is there any advice that you'd give to them just like to keep going? And
Yeah, so I would definitely say use it as motivation. You're gonna get shot down a lot in life. That's a part of life. If you drive on a straight road and get everything handed to you, then you're not gonna be the best of the best. I'll say that. Use it as motivation. You're gonna get shot down, but make that recovery 10 times better. It's gonna be hard, and you're gonna at times feel like there's no point, but just remember, like, you did the surgery, like you're overcoming an injury, whatever happened. If you can do that, you can work a little bit harder to be a better player than you were beforehand. And so just, yeah, use it as motivation, let it fuel you.
Awesome. Thank you. Is there anyone you want to shout out? I'm out of questions. So is there anything that you want to talk about or anyone you want to thank just for your career?
Yeah, I definitely thank all of my teammates right now, especially Molly, Mackenzie, and Jaden. They're my best friends. And my coaches, Kaylee and Jenny, who raised me since the beginning of time and put up with me. And my family as well, my mom, my dad, my grandma, my grandpa, everybody that's come out ever to support me, and especially my mom for driving me all over the place. And definitely my friends in the music program at Fraser's and the band program at Fraser have supported me through it all. So just thank you to everybody who's helped me on this journey. And I'm excited for what the future holds with me.
Yeah. Best of luck in the future, Paige. You're going to kill it. Thanks for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
Awesome. I would like to thank Paige for coming on to today's show and giving us all a great episode. She's a very talented athlete and a better person. I'm excited to see her succeed at the next level. I will have her Instagram linked in the bio. I would also like to thank you for listening in and would greatly appreciate if you like and subscribe. If you leave a comment, I will make sure to answer you back. Thank you for watching. My name is Calvin Custance, and this is The Blueprint.